You're now listening to Hispanics Causing Panic, baby. Let's do this.
But right now, Hispanics are causing black. But right now, Hispanics are causing black. Yeah, Hispanics are causing panic.
What's going on, everybody? D-Style Boxing here. I almost forgot to put myself on camera to just grace you all with my presence. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? This is the 88th edition of Hispanics Causing Panic. Shout out to the audio crowd out there, whether it's Spotify, iHeart, you know, there's Stitcher, you know, Apple Podcast, everyone that's been listening there. We do have a growing, you know, audio audience, and I want to give them a shout out. You guys matter too, okay? And shout out to the HCP network. Shout out to the Shushan. Shout out to Mano on Mano Live. Shout out to Power Punchers, although I'm part of that show as well. That's on Calix's channel. And Ringside Reporter. And this Thursday, we will have the Roundtable, ladies and gentlemen, on Maestro A Boxing. So make sure you're there. That's youtube.com/Maestro A Boxing. The Roundtable. That's right. All right. Stiffen on the building, a writer of the storm, Puerto Rican rum, a haplotype on here. Okay. We got Chicano Prophet, Punch Smollett. We got Mark Nash was in the building a little earlier. Shoeshine in the building. Make sure you tune into the Shoeshine every Monday, ladies and gentlemen, right after Power Punchers every Monday. Check this out. Check this out. All right. And I do want to announce, I mean, I just got confirmation next week. Somebody will be available. Gabriel Montoya will be available, and he'll be on the Roundtable next week. So it should be very, very interesting here on this channel. Hit the like button. I'm going to have a co-host join me in a little bit. Okay. So it will be, you know, I don't like to do the podcast by myself. I can, but I don't prefer to. And he'll be on a little bit, but Nancy couldn't make it. Okay, personal reasons, and was not able to make it today. But you know, Nancy will be back whenever she's able to make it back, of course. Okay, and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? A couple of things to talk about today. We got Tyson Fury in the news. We got freaking for his reasons. All right. Tyson Fury made some accusations about Usyk, and he threw shots at AJ. You know what I mean? You know, he wants to fight those guys. You know what I mean? And all that good stuff. So, all right, cool. The host I'm going to bring on a little bit is having some issues, but it's okay. He'll be on a little bit. Let's get started with this, right? I want to talk, ladies and gentlemen, about some other stuff first. So before anything, all right. Now, one thing I want everybody to keep in mind before I continue, and I want you to start thinking about this, is your what fight party stories or what nostalgia do you get from fight parties? You know what I mean? Like, what do you get? Because we're going to talk about that, especially when the co-host comes on. And I want everyone to kind of reflect on that, right? And the older you are, right? Like, dude, like the older you are, the better the stories are. I'm sorry. Okay. And I feel like it already wasn't the same. And then after COVID, it'll probably be a long time before big fight parties is a thing again. But we always have the memories and all that. So I want you guys to think about that, right? As we continue this show, right? Because I have like the most fun I've ever had at a fight has not even been at the fight. It's been at a fight party, right? And we're going to definitely talk about that for sure. All right. The co-host is actually having some technical difficulties, so he'll be on in a little bit. Let's just get started with the main story of the day, which is Saul Canelo Alvarez. Ladies and gentlemen, Saul Canelo Alvarez, the HCP Hispanic Causing Panic of the year, the HCP Fighter of the year. All right. Any more awards for this dude? He was the Santa Claus of the year. He was I forget what else he was, but I mean, he won all these awards on HCP, on all the platforms, right? There's rumors, ladies and gentlemen, that he's going to be fighting possibly. We don't know nowadays, right? It's like now there's rumors about the rumors. Like, you know what I mean? And now it's like, but that rumor is not really a rumor. Somebody said it was a rumor, but it's not really a rumor. Like, I don't even know. I don't know anymore. Okay. But the rumor has it that Saul Canelo Alvarez is going to be fighting Jermall Charlo in May. I'll take my word for it, okay? If the fight doesn't happen, don't come scold me. Don't come to the rocks at me and everybody tar and feather D style. He said the fight was going to happen. He gassed us up. I got all excited, you know, but then he fucking ended, but he's going to fight Anthony Durrell. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know about that. Now, I'll admit, maybe I was wrong about the Anthony Durrell thing, okay? I was just convinced that's what BBC wanted. But what's wrong with like, I want you guys to think about it for a moment, right? What is wrong with a Jermall Charlo fight? That's the fight I've been hearing Canelo doesn't want to engage in. Like, I've been hearing like nonstop. Oh, Jermall, that's why he created franchise, because he's scared. Oh, he don't want no peace. He wants nothing to do with. Oh, he's avoiding Jermall Charlo. He's avoiding Jermall. Like, what? Oh, yeah, that's why Canelo's the one. Like, he created franchise, not Mauricio, right? Not Mauricio Sulaiman, ladies and gentlemen. Not this dude. I caused the division. Not him. Never mind the fact that Canelo never fought at that weight again after they said he was the franchise champion. Never fought at that weight again. Ever. Right? He never again fought at that weight. Ever. It never happened. Canelo went on to do bigger, better things, and Jermall just kind of stuck around. He had a good Derevchenko win. Right? He struggled with Montiel. Right? But now all the energy has changed. It's gone from Canelo will never fight him. Canelo's scared. Canelo's going to cherry pick. Oh, watch Canelo. He went up in division to avoid Jermall. He wants nothing to do with Jermall. He's avoiding Jermall. No, it's not true. Roberto Diaz is lying. He was never offered anything. No, his brother was lying. Everybody's lying. Jermall Charlo always wanted to fight Canelo. Was never offered nothing, and he would take a fight no matter what against Canelo. No, ladies and gentlemen, this dude. No. I kept hearing, no, he's scared. He's running scared. He doesn't want anything to do, okay, with Jermall Charlo. Nothing. But now the energy's changed. Now that the fight might happen, well, why does he want to fight him now? Oh, it's because he didn't look so good against Molina. That's why he wants to fight him. Look, do you want to see the fucking fight or not? I just want to get this fight out of the fucking way. Hit my like button. I just want to get this fight out of the way already. I've been saying I want to see the fight. I've also been saying Canelo whooped that ass. That's a different story, right? Everything, it's settled in the ring anyway. Jermall Charlo fans think he could beat Canelo. They think he's a kryptonite. Oh, because you know what it is? It's just different. He's explosive, and Canelo hasn't fought an explosive guy like that. Like, okay, well, let's see the fight then. Let's see the fight, right? You think Jermall could beat him? I saw Art Man on Twitter, right, saying it's going to be a sad day in Guadalajara when Canelo loses to Jermall Charlo. Like, okay. Look, boxing's not that serious, okay? Like, when a fighter loses, people don't, like, go into mourning, right? Like, are there fans out there that go into mourning when a fighter loses? Like, what's going on over here, right? Maybe there is. Maybe there's some fan bases that do that. I don't know, okay? But Jermall Charlo, Saul Canelo Alvarez, I want to see this fight. I really do, ladies and gentlemen. Batista, why do you want to see that fight? Let me tell you something, okay? This is a fight I want to see, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason I want to see this fight is because the Jermall Charlo fan base, a lot of the PBC fanatics out here, have been claiming that Canelo ran. He was ducking, right? He was ducking, right? And it was dodging. He's ducking and dodging. He's ducking and he's dodging. He's been ducking and dodging, ladies and gentlemen. Batista, you don't understand. Jermall Charlo, I mean, he brings a level of athleticism that Canelo is trying to avoid right now. He has a style that, first of all, Jermall Charlo doesn't even have the style, okay? This is stupid, right? But it's a fight. A lot of people have ran their mouth. A lot of individuals have claimed that this is the fight that Canelo wants no piece of, no part of. Canelo is trying to do everything possible to avoid a fight with Jermall Charlo. All right? That's what he's doing. Oh, Batista, let me know if you guys can hear me good right here, by the way. Just let me know if the sound's good. All right? Shout out to the GOAT. Canelo shall fight all black fighters in 2022, in my opinion. I think Canelo should just fight the best fighters, okay? If those fighters happen to be black, then that's who you should fight. If those fighters happen to be European, that's who you should fight. If there's a Japanese dude, okay, that is top of the mountain, that's who he should fight, right? If it's a dude from Africa, that's who he should fight. If it's a dude from South America, that's who he should fight, okay? If it's a hardworking man, blue collar dude, or whatever they call him, right? If it's a Russian, okay, you don't want to fight no Russians, okay? Well, whatever it is, that's who Canelo should fight. Whoever the best is who Saul Canelo Alvarez should fight. I've always been consistent about that, okay? I'm not a dude. Oh, they're European. They're bums by definition. Like, no, well, it's not the way it works, right? Either dude's good or he's not good. Right? Regardless of their nationality, regardless of their race, regardless of where they come from, right? I want Canelo to fight the best available fighters. And I've been told that Jermall Charlo is the best middleweight in the world, right? So let's go ahead and do the fight. You tell me Jermall can't move up one more weight class? And he might even get the opportunity to become undisputed champion. Biggest payday of his career, the ability to become undisputed. Dude, you got nothing to lose, brother, at that point. I'm just telling you that right now. Nothing to lose. And if Jermall's that dude that I've been hearing that he is, he should win that fight. But now, people want to blame Canelo because Jermall Charlo had a tough fight with Montiel. Right? It's all Canelo's fault. You piece of shit, Canelo! We had this big fight, and now Jermall struggled with Montiel, and it fucked up the luster of this fight. Fucking Canelo. Always fucking this shit up. There's dudes that blame Canelo for everything. Okay? For everything. They go to the restaurant, their meat's undercooked, right? They cut it. You know what I mean? Fuck! Your chef's Canelo, isn't it? Like, no, Canelo's not in the back cooking your meat. Well, they fucked this shit up. It's got to be him. Like all I know, that people want to blame Canelo for everything, okay? I'm just saying. Cummings says Canelo beats Europeans. Chair picks. Andre Ward beats Europeans. Beats super middleweight. Best super middleweight ever, right? Well, I mean, I don't know if he's the best super middleweight ever. I personally think that goes to Joe Calzaghe, but it doesn't go to Joe Calzaghe because he's European. It just goes because he just happens to be the best middleweight ever. And Andre Ward beat a very good Eastern European and Kovalev, right? A European, I guess, and Prach and Kessler, and those guys were good fighters, right? And he deserves all the props in the world, right? So yes, if your message is we got to stay consistent, right? And if we're going to praise Andre Ward for beating Europeans, why can't we praise Canelo for beating the best available fighters in that weight class? And if they happen to be European, somehow that's Canelo's fault. You know what I mean? Everything's Canelo's fault, right? Like, oh, it's fucking Canelo. Look at all these. Look at Better Beeve. All right, just beating the fuck out of Brown. Fucking Canelo, piece of shit. All right. Now the Russians on top at 175 because Canelo wants to fight Russians. You piece of shit. This is the shit we deal with, ladies and gentlemen. This is the shit Saul Canelo Alvarez deals with. Shout out to Little Penny in the chat. Camille Ozzy. It's Canelo's fault. COVID happened. Everybody tell me, what is Canelo at fault for? What can we blame Canelo for? We're already blaming him for everything. It's its fault that Better Beeve is 36 years old. You know what I mean? You piece of shit, Canelo. This dude's already 36 years old. Nobody knew who Better Beef was until he was 36. It's your fault. You got to fight him next month, but not too soon because he has a cut. I'm not going to give you any credit if you fight him while he's recovering from that cut. But you better not wait till next year either. I'm going to give you that little bit of window, Canelo, and you better meet that fucking window, motherfucker. I don't give a fuck. You better fight Better Beef. He's already 36, and it's your fault. Like what the hell's going on over here, bro? Man and water. The guys Ward fought at 168 were good, though. Canelo beat Plant and Liam Smith, Walsh, or whatever his name, to become undisputed. Okay, his name was not Liam Smith, was his brother, Man and Water. Come on, Man and Water. Like, you know what I mean? Like, give him the credit. Like Callum Smith. Callum Smith. Put respect in the Callum Smith name, right? Liam Walsh. Like, I mean, it sounds pretty British, the name, like Liam Walsh, in all fairness, but that's not his name, okay? Come on now. 175 has killers? Okay, well, take the pledge, Man of Water. Take the pledge. Pledge to me. What about this fight, Man of Water? Did you want to see Jermall Charlo against Canelo? Man of Water said he wasn't trolling it. Well, you know. Canelo picking all the Smiths. Joe Smith Jr. next. Hey, Joe Smith is next. Hey, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, shit. It's not his fault. Like, all these dudes' last names are Smith. That's Canelo's fault, too. Like, look at this. What a coincidence. Canelo's now in the division with all these Smiths. You know? Everybody remember the store Smiths? You remember that shit? Like that pharmacy? It was kind of like a Walgreens, but it was kind of like a mix of a grocery store. It was like a grocery store that was like a pharmacy at the same time, right? Kind of like a neighborhood Walmart is now. Like, it was called Smith's, you know? Like that's Canelo, man. Just fighting all the Smiths, you know? We got Man and Water. We got Tony Barlett. Salute, East Town Chat. How's it going? Little Penny here. Stephens is haplotype. Yes. Lennox used his jab better than Bo did. Okay. All right. Shit. You know what I mean? Hit my like button, guys. You know what I mean? I appreciate everyone that's hitting the like, man. I really am. And now I'm hearing myself because I'm an idiot and I pressed on the button to play the sound. You know what I mean? Let me check something really quick, guys. Bear with me. All right. I don't know what's going on, man. I hope everything's okay. And I'm starting to worry about the guests. You know what I mean? But I hope everything's all right. You know what I mean? But check it out. So I actually like to fight. It's a chapter that we need to close. And we need to fight, like you know, I've been saying Charlo needs to step up and fight somebody. I've been saying that. You know, I've been saying, hey, fight Andrade, do a unification. I've been saying that. I've been actively saying that. Actively, ladies and gentlemen. I've been saying, hey, man, it's time to step up. It's time to make a statement. And I'll tell you why I've been wanting this. And this always happens, right? I've been watching boxing long enough to know what happens in the aftermath of wins, right? And I want fighters that to get credit for their wins. What happened after Crawford became undisputed? Big accomplishment, undisputed 140 pounds, knocked out Ndongo, right? And then what happened? Ndongo, the resume was kind of, even though he, became a champion and everything, his resume was less than stellar. And afterwards just went on a losing streak, right? And the same thing with Plan. Like, Plan hasn't really beaten anybody. And he just happened to have a belt, and Canelo had to fight him. And obviously I supported the fight, and Canelo, it's still a big accomplishment, became undisputed. But what's going to happen if Plan goes on a losing streak? Like, let's say Plant loses the next 4 fights. People are going to say, yeah, he became undisputed, but he beat Plant, though. You know what I mean? Like, So it's important for guys to accomplish decent things, at least, right? So if Jermall had beaten Andrade, if Jermall had beaten other guys, right? If he had unified at least, like that is a notch under his belt, So if Canelo fights him and beats him, we could say, no, like, like he was hot at the time. He was doing his thing, he unified, and it was a fight people wanted, right? But it's Canelo's fault that Jermall hasn't done anything, right? Now it's Canelo's fault that he struggled with Molina and all this other stuff. Well, I'm sorry. It's not Canelo's job. It's not. It's not his job to coddle this dude, bro. You know what I mean? It's not his job to be a matchmaker for these guys. A lot of these guys have been purposely cherry picking their way into just sitting in the lobby waiting to be called out. Just like, like when you go to the doctor's office, you just sit in the lobby and you just wait. They're waiting for Dr. Canelo to come out and it'd be like, okay, you're next. You know what I mean? Now let me do some surgical work on you. Like that's all they're doing. It's not Canelo's fault. These guys are sitting on their hands and knees. All right? That's all they're doing. Twiddling their thumbs, fighting once a year, fighting fights that, they could kind of just get through and stay in the mix. Jermall was supposed to spark Molina. He was. He didn't spark Molina. A guy Munguia sparked. Okay? That's not Canelo's fault. And even after that fight, I kept hearing, Canelo needs to fight him. Canelo needs to fight him. Canelo's ducking. Canelo's scared. Canelo wants a piece of him. Canelo this, Canelo this, Canelo this, Canelo this. But now here it is, right? Shout out to Christine Lopez. I appreciate the support. Shout out to G Funky, Boxer, Riding Storm, in the building, JC. How's it going? He's talking about Akaka TV. Man, Akaka TV says all types of shit, brother. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna drive yourself crazy listening to Akaka TV. Shout out to Brian in the building. How's it going, Brian?
Wet. It's raining as rainy as hell in Seattle, man.
When is it not raining in Seattle?
Well, in the summertime. In the summertime.
When I went to Seattle, all I did was rain. Like, you know what I mean? Like, walk outside, rain. Okay, like left the concert, rain. During the concert, rain. After the concert, rain. Like, all I did was rain. Oh, I want to go see the Jimi Hendrix, memorial, rain. Let me go see the Bruce Lee, Brandon Lee, tombstones, rain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you're not lying about that.
I'm just saying. Great stuff, though. I like the city. A lot of loops in the city. What's that about? Highway, you have a lot of loops. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I mean, well, I think the main reason why is because of all the hills that are up here. Too many high. I've been up here before. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to the Kurt Cobain bench, right? and then like it had his house and stuff where he committed suicide and all this other stuff, and people write all this stuff there. It was kind of cool though, you know what I mean? But it was like surreal too, like you know, I don't know, it's like kind of weird, but anyway, shout out to Christine Lopez. Brian, do you like Charlo versus Canelo?
I mean, it's a good fight. I'll say that much. It's a good fight. Is it a lag on my end, or can you hear me?
No, I hear you. You're good.
Okay. Yeah. I do like the fight because it is one of the fights that people were claiming that Canelo needed to have for his legacy, or at least for the current crop of boxers up between 160 and 168. I believe it's a good fight for the sake of matchmaking, but I don't know what Charlo's going to bring to the table against Canelo Alvarez, because he hasn't fought nobody of that caliber, and the guys that he has fought, they're nowhere near, not even 10% of what Canelo can bring to the table in a 12-round competitive championship fight. But it's definitely a fight that, if it's made, then I don't think nobody should be complaining, because people have been saying that he needs to fight Charlo. If 160,
Charlo.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They were saying that he was ducking Charlo and whatnot. Now that the fight is there's rumored has it that it possibly can be made. Now they're trying to say that, and mind you, I'm not a Canelo Alvarez enthusiast. I was a fan at one point. I'm not anymore.
We got to make you a fan again, Brian. We got to make you a fan, brother. You know what I mean?
I'm a fan of what he's doing, but I mean, the man's undisputed. I mean, yeah, you have Benavidez and you have Charlo out there, but they're in Demetrius Andrade. But at the same time, what have they proven to be to given that opportunity? I mean, Benavidez at this point, he is probably the number one contender for those belts. But you know, you can't wait on Canelo for the big payday. So I just feel like if the Charlo fights should be made, people should not be mad. People should be rejoicing that you're finally getting what you're asking for. So That's how I look at that, you know.
No, absolutely. I like that take. You know what I mean? Do you think, or what do you make of the people saying, "Oh, now he wants to fight him now that he saw that he struggled against Molina," right? Do you think there's a pattern with Canelo, like picking guys that are looking lackluster?
Well, I guess you could say that about what's his name, Sergey Kovalev, and Kovalev did. Of course, he's pretty much shot by the time Canelo fought him, even though Canelo is moving up to his weight class to fight him at light heavyweight. You could say that, yeah, he picked him when he was shot, but at the same time, I can't really say that, because Charlo is only 31 years old. He's in his prime, and just because somebody looks bad, I mean, this is boxing. I mean, I think in the eyes of the modern day boxing fan, oh well, you're only as good as your last fight. I mean, guys take losses. Guys don't look good in every fight. Even all the best fighters in history have all had those ups and downs. Even the good fighters, which I would say Charlo's in the more of the medium range good category, not great category. You know, look, if you're I always look at it like this: if you are the guy that is the lower weight class, you should move up, and you shouldn't force the bigger guy to come down, because you're trying to get a weight advantage on him. You know, trying to weight drain him. Y'all are
kind of
cutting weight
them to make it even.
Right. And my thing is, and on that point, I mean, you all are a part of the day before the fight weigh-ins. All of you guys, you know, cut weight anyway. So my thing is, he should move up and fight at 168 and fight Canelo if he believes in his ability of his power and his athleticism and the things that he brings and his aggression that he brings. Then you should be confident in going and taking those belts from Canelo. That's how I look at it.
I have another question for you. So let's say, because I'm also hearing that Charlo may not accept the fight, right? Now these are rumors, and sometimes we don't even know, right? But if Charlo does not accept the fight, do you think that's it? Do you think Canelo should just move on from this dude?
Yeah. I mean, look. My thing is, if you're the guy dealing with Canelo Alvarez. You're the undisputed champion at 168 and the first to do it at 168, right? When they created, since they created the juniors and supers and all these weight classes. If you're the cash cow and you are the undisputed champion, right? Then, and here it is, the fight's being offered to these guys that have been claiming that he's been ducking them. Even though, if I'm not mistaken, Jermall out Jermall about him somehow not wanting to fight Canelo years ago. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't there like a short video of that? My thing is, if he's not able to have the fight done, then the only other option is Benavidez or move up to 175 and fight one of those guys. That's probably the most logical choice for Canelo, you know. So
okay, all right.
Yeah, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Shout out to Lee Groves. Just given the long layoffs, top fighters have to take big fights whenever possible. There's no time to mess about. And the tale of Fury, Joshua, and Wilder, Joshua should serve as a cautionary tale. Look, if Charlo's that dude, and if he's the guy that is meant to beat Canelo, him having a lackluster performance against Montiel shouldn't mean anything. I mean, Morales was coming off a loss to Barrera, and then he beat a Manny Pacquiao that was on fire. You know what I mean? If you're meant to do it, you're meant to do it. And is Charlo meant for greatness? Like, I'm a firm believer in that, Brian. I'm a firm believer in destiny. And I'm a firm believer that either you're meant to do it or you're not, right? So that's why I'm all for it. Like, if Virgil Ortiz wants to fight Crawford, like, I'm not going to be the guy that gets in the way. Like, no, you're not ready. Like, no, like, he feels he's ready. This young lion wants to fight him. Like, give him a shot. You know what I mean? Boots Ennis wants like Spence, like ASAP. Don't get in the way. Don't call him a young pup. He wants it, right? I'm a firm believer in destiny. If Jermall Charlo's that dude that you guys been saying he is, that can, and there's something about him that Canelo's avoiding, right?
Right.
Even if he had a lackluster performance, what do athletes do when a moment like this comes? They bring their A game, right? They're supposed to take it to a whole nother level. And I'll be interested to see if Jermall Charlo will do that. Like, I'm interested to see that. You know what I mean? But here's another thing. So let's say the Canelo fight doesn't happen. Let's say Canelo fights Makabu or does something else.
Right.
Plant called out Charlo. Right? Said, I'll fight you. And he said he's easy work too. He said, you're easy work. You know what I mean? Wouldn't that be and that's kind of like part of boxing's lore. Like, if you want to get to the top dude, you look at the dudes he beat and you fuck him up worse than he did, right? I mean, if Charlo moves up and knocks out Caleb Plant and beats him, let's say, in better fashion than Canelo did, dude, we got a big fight at 168, no?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, my thing is with these fighters, and this is the problem, and this is why I can respect what Canelo did. He fought 4 times, which is unprecedented with these fighters today, which I don't understand why they don't fight at least 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Canelo set the standard for these modern-day fighters today. He fought 4 times a year. He fought Callum Smith. I mean, people can talk all the shit they want about Callum Smith. But Callum Smith is a good fighter. He's probably better at 175 given his body frame.
You hear that, man in water? Oh,
but he beat Callum Smith. He beat Billy Joe, which I was hoping Billy Joe could beat him because I've been high on Billy Joe for years. All right, but he beat him. He made Billy Joe quit. And then Caleb Plant, who everybody said that Caleb Plant was going to give him issues because Canelo's not good against slick boxers with a jab and with foot movement and all this, that, and the sort. But regardless, that fight wasn't really close like it may appear to be, And he washed all these guys out and became undisputed. If these guys are not able to get the fight with Canelo Alvarez, why are you sitting back and waiting? And of course, two of the fighters that we're talking about, Charlo and Benavidez, both of those guys are part of the PBC, which love to shell fighters whenever they give the chance to the shell of a fighter, and maybe make these guys only fight 2 times a year, because they're under contract. Andrade, my thing is with Andrade, it's been 12 years and you only had 30 professional fights. And you're only fighting like one time a year. If we want to add him into the equation, these guys got to fight and they got to build their recognition and their names up. Nobody, you know what's crazy? And I'll just say this. I was on someone else's live stream. And I was basically like, I was just experimenting with guys at the job. And I was just asking, do you know who Canelo is? Everybody knew who Canelo was because of the Mayweather thing. But when I asked about any of these other guys, most of the guys that are casual boxing fans, they don't know who Charlo is. They don't know who Benavidez is. They don't know who these guys are. And why is that? Because you guys don't fight enough.
And it wasn't just because he fought Mayweather, by the way. He was on Mayweather undercards for big fights.
Exactly.
Like the Mosley fight, 19 years old, he was on that undercard with Jose Cotto. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he was on the against Alfonso Gomez, was it? I think in the Victor Ortiz undercard. So yeah, like he was in I think 2 or 3 undercards, and then he had his fight with Trout, and then yes, he fought Mayweather, and then he like went back out there, fought Angulo, Lara. So I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's time, in my opinion. If the big test was this dude right here, if it was Charlo, right? Then it's time to step up. It's time to make this fight happen. Yeah. Like, it's time to pay the piper, as a great Roddy Piper used to say. Okay? The time has come. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just saying. So we're going to go ahead and proceed. Hey, Brian, I have a question for you, right?
What's up?
So, and I want to know what the chat thinks, by the way. And by the way, we're going to talk about this Fury. We're gonna have somebody else joining us in a little bit as well. We're gonna be talking about this Fury thing, okay, for sure. Okay, what he said about Usyk and all that. We're gonna talk about that. So stay here. Don't go anywhere. All right, get your popcorn. Okay, it's gonna be interesting. But check this out: fight parties, right? Yeah. Like boxing. Now, obviously, I get that COVID happened and all that. So last 2 years, they're non-existent, right? But even before COVID, boxing hasn't been that sport like that, where like it used to be. You know, maybe it's just me, but I remember the fight parties. I remember people buying the T-shirts. You know what I mean? I remember like sneaking out of a quinceañera to go watch De La Hoya versus Vargas, right? And my grandfather, okay, and the quinceañera's father, like snuck out to go watch this fight. You know what I mean? And like, this is crazy. And I remember like one side of the room, we're going for one fighter. The other side of the living room anyway would be going for another fighter, or we'll put a big TV in the back patio and people would watch it that way. And look, I get it. Nowadays we have smartphones. We have other ways to watch fights. I get all that. But it seems to me like that culture has like evaporated. It's gone. And then especially with COVID is probably the nail in the coffin. That doesn't mean boxing's gone, right? You know, now we all watch it on this, or watch the Zone on this, like this, or whatever, right? But getting together, potluck, you know what I mean? Buying the T-shirt for the fight. I remember that was a big thing. Remember that time? Those times?
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, like
especially Tyson Holyfield. I remember those days when I was a kid wearing that. Yeah.
So I want to know, first of all, the chat, if you have any crazy fight party stories, but that one was mine, like sneaking out, right? Like get this, right? Like, you're familiar with the quinceañera, right? So it's kind of like a Sweet 16, but it's only 15 years old, right? In Mexican culture, right? And that's basically what it is. But it's like a big deal. You know what I mean? And the father of the quinceañera and my grandfather, right? Keep in mind, this isn't even his son, by the way. This is like the son-in-law, okay? Just to like, but anyway, they sneak out, right? Like my grandfather's like, hey, where's your grandma at? Like, oh, she's over there. Like, okay, just tell me when she's looking that way, or it was something like that. And then he like snuck out to the back, right? Got in the back of a vehicle. It was crazy. It was like a beer run, kind of like they had a dude ready with the vehicle. So when they got in and they got out of there, and I joined them, by the way, and then we went to a cousin's house to watch the fight with De La Hoya and Fernando Vargas, right? And then after the fight, drove back, and my grandmother was very, very angry, and so was my aunt, and because the quinceañera was waiting to dance with her grandfather and her father, right? But that's a different story. Do you have any crazy stories, Brian, for fight parties?
I'm trying to think which one, because mainly was always a family gathering, especially for the heavyweight bouts, like Tyson Holyfield. There.
Oh, the ear
I'm not
bite?
gonna. Huh?
The ear bite you're talking about? Or both?
Yeah,
fights?
that fight, because that was, I would say that was the one that really got me into boxing. Not that I wasn't watching boxing previous to that, because mind you, I was a youngin. But I just remember that moment, because everybody's gathered and there was a huge argument. You know what I'm saying? Amongst because there was a pro Holyfield and a pro Tyson pro Tyson fan amongst the amongst the family, and there was an argument that broke out of whether or not Holyfield was cheating, because Holyfield, he was doing Tyson dirty on the inside, and it was just it was crazy, it was crazy, but you knew that there was a certain love and passion, and even with the fight parties, what came with it was, the gathering, the food. I wasn't legal at the time, of course, but of course,
right?
it was drink. Yeah, that's true. But drinking back then, I saw the Budweiser. Like
growing
it was,
up, like all that mattered was like the elders' permission. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's all that mattered.
Yeah, man. I mean, that back then, man, it was something. Especially, I would say in the early 2000s too, as well. In the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, the Holyfield Lennox Lewis fight, man, everybody was rooting for Holyfield to beat Lennox Lewis. Really rooting for him, but he couldn't do it because of his heart, because he had issues with his heart and whatnot. It was a certain atmosphere back then, and you just knew people were so passionate. People loved Tyson. People loved watching Real Deal Holyfield fight. Really, especially when it came to the heavyweight division, but even the smaller weight classes too. It was fun. Those were fun times, man. I mean, there were just only certain moments I can remember, but those going back, I knew, you knew it was a big time in boxing back then.
Absolutely, man. I remember where, like, people remember shit, like when big events happen, like I remember my grandfather would tell me, like, oh, I knew exactly where I was when JFK got shot, and you know what I mean, or I knew exactly where I was when this happened or that happened, right? Big events, like people remember where they were if they saw Whitney Houston sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl, right, or whatever, right? People remember, like everyone remembers where they were when Mike Tyson bit Evander Holyfield's ear, right? And I remember being like a Tyson fan in denial, I thought Tyson hit him so hard and upside the head that it made Holyfield go like this, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, he got him! Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then like they stopped, and I was like, well, what? I thought they stopped the fight. Right. I thought he waved it off because he hurt Holyfield so bad, right? Like I was a kid, but I thought Tyson hit him so hard that it made him like jump up and down, and like Millsling waved it off, and I'm celebrating, and they're like, no, hold on, he's checking the ear. It's like, oh shit, Tyson hit him so fucking hard, he fucking busted his eardrum, like, and then no, they're showing the replay. This dude, like, yo, I don't think we'll ever see anything like this in boxing again.
No.
He, like, open his mouth and you see like all the jaw muscles and everything. Like, dude, he just bit a piece of the ear and then he did it again. Like, I remember what. Do you remember where you were?
Yeah, I remember. Oh, I remember that. I remember exactly when that happened, man. Like I was, like everybody was in, because I was the youngest one. I was like way in the back watching this while everybody was in the front watching this. I was like, oh shit, what did he just do? He bit this dude's ear. I was like, oh shit. You know, and back I ain't gonna lie, as a kid back then, I love Tyson, man. I love Tyson. And I thought, you know what, call me crazy, but as a kid, I thought that was cool when he did this shit. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, oh shit, he actually bit this.
You thought that was cool? Man.
Yeah. Yeah, because I love Tyson. That's why.
Right. I mean, I never thought it was cool, but I do remember like being like in shock. I was kind of like, what the fuck just happened? Why did he bite his ear? Because he was actually doing pretty good in the fight. Right?
Right.
Like, I'm like, what?
Yeah, he was.
I felt, at least when I was watching it, I felt like he was getting the better of Holyfield, you know? But Holyfield had that trademark, my head's going to be in the way, and if you don't move out of the way, that's your problem style. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it is what it is. But I want to share something with the audience here. Just something I want to share. Let me see if I could get this up here. Okay. Now, Brian, I want your opinion on this. Obviously, let me get it up here. But I just want to know. I don't know if anybody's ever seen this image before. Right? I'm going to share it for you guys, okay? But like, smoke or no smoke, right? That's all I want to know. Let me get this out of the way, this little image here. I'm playing with the stuff, guys. I'm learning, right? Smoke or no smoke. Was this cop really going to do some karate shit on Mike Tyson? Like, for real? So he was like, whoa, let's go, Tyson. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you think that cop could have taken Mike Tyson? You think he wanted that smoke or no smoke?
Man, looked like he was scared for his life, man. Looked like he saw.
He's got that pose going. You know what I mean? He's got that Bruce Lee shit going. You know what I mean? That's what I think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you talking about that little stand? Oh, you talking about he about to do a little side kick to the liver or something?
Oh, look at this. He was ready. He's like, yo, you want this shit, brother? I'm ready to go. Like I know about MMA before MMA was even around, type of shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying. like he was ready. Like, do you think he was scared, or you think he was ready to throw down if necessary against Mike Tyson?
Man, looked like he was braced for impact. That's what that looked like. I'm gonna be honest with you.
He should look scared, right?
Yeah, he looked scared. Looked like he was bracing. He knew the damn rocket was coming. He knew the bomb was coming. He was just bracing for impact, man. He's like, oh shit.
Okay, all right.
That's
no smoke is the verdict, right? No smoke. What did the chat? Smoke or no smoke? That was the cop going to throw down with Mike Tyson? Like, you think he could have taken him if he knew some karate? Like, you know what I mean? Because Tyson had gloves on, you know what I mean? So, it's kind of limited. What if he kicks him in the leg? But then again, like Mike Tyson was on some carnivore type shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Cannibal ass.
Remember he bit the thigh of Lennox? He was probably gonna he would probably bite his thigh off and shit if he tried to you know what I mean? Like a leg, he would fucking yank it off and he needed a fucking drumstick or some shit, Well,
I'll say this about that. There was a time Tyson did spar a Muay Thai fighter. This was around that time period, around 98, 99. And hey, I mean, them leg kicks affected him, according to his words. And he said, it was a different dimension he never felt before. So if you have the skill to pay the bill, so to speak, then maybe. But I mean, look, if he's throwing an overhand right, you better watch out.
Right.
You better watch out. Pray. That's what to say.
That's crazy. Were you very how did you feel? I know you said you're a big Tyson fan, so how did you feel when Tyson lost? The first time when he got knocked out against Holyfield?
Oh man, I was sad, bro. I be honest with you, I never I wasn't a pro Holyfield guy to begin with. I know the household, half the household was. I didn't like Holyfield. He was a dirty motherfucker, man.
Yeah, but he was like a man of Christ, though. Remember that? Like he was like singing, like in the showers, and like you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, he was good. Look, see, he was very good. He's one of the best champions in the history of the heavyweight division. No, take nothing away from him. It's just he did a lot of dirty shit, you know, using his damn head as a weapon, low blowing cats, you know.
Damn.
Rabbit punching. I mean, that's what he did. That's why he got the stoppage in the
So
first
was
fight.
Tyson justified for biting his ear, in your opinion?
Listen, you got to do something. Listen, if somebody beating you up,
Don't say.
Look. I mean, look, D-Style. Listen, it's like this for me, right? If I knew somebody was doing some shit like
He's
that,
rationalizing it. I love this. Go ahead.
Listen. Anytime I was sparring somebody, right, and they were doing cheap tactics like that. Am I gonna bite the ear? No, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna grab them. I'm gonna stomp on their foot. I'm gonna throw a quick elbow in. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna shrug them off. Wrestle them against. I'm gonna do something. You know, because I mean, if somebody's doing some dirty shit, look, if you take it to a street level, then guess what? Street level is gonna happen to you, and that's all Tyson did.
Damn. Please tell me you haven't bit somebody's ear in the gym.
Who, me?
Right.
Hell no. No, I ain't did that.
But remember all the I'll never get over all like the muscles. Like this dude like can bite, bro.
Oh my
Holy
God.
shit. Imagine getting in a street fight with him and you just bite your fucking nose off or some shit. Like, holy shit, bro. Okay? Yeah. Like, leave Mike Tyson alone, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Another big one for me, by the way, was definitely De La Hoya versus Trinidad. A lot of disappointed people, obviously. We're not happy with the fight. We're not happy with De La Hoya. But there was also like kind of like that rivalry, right? So I'll never forget, all the Trinidad fans knew he lost. Okay, like they knew, like they were all quiet in the corner over there. Like they weren't saying nothing. You know, the De La Hoya fans were high fiving, and then they go to the verdict, and then like, you know,
well,
and the winner, Felix Tito Trinidad. Even Trinidad was shocked, like, like, what do you mean? Like, he didn't win that fight.
Man, from what I remember in that fight, De La Hoya's jab won him that fight, and kept that, you know, the power punching of Tito Trinidad at bay for pretty much most of the fight. And that's how I looked at the fight, if you ask me. And it's been a minute since I've rewatched that fight, but I thought De La Hoya won that fight in particular. Now, some of them other fights that he got gift wrapped, I don't know, you know, but I think I thought De La
Hoya's record is accurate, like it really is. So like I felt he won a Trinidad fight, but you could argue he might have lost the Whitaker fight. You know what I mean? I felt he won the Mosley rematch, but you could argue he didn't win the Stern fight. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like one of those like. I get it. Like he lost a lot of close fights, you know, but he also won a lot of close fights. So you can't complain, you know. Plus, he really did not win that Stern fight. That's the one you cannot make an argument for.
The Felix Stern?
He got his ass whooped against Felix Stern. He was out of gas after like the 4th round, bro. He went in there. He tried to take Felix Stern out. It just didn't work out. You know what I mean? Like Felix Stern weathered the storm early. And then he was just lighting him up with the jab. Like De La Hoya was getting lit up with the jab. I never seen De La Hoya get lit up with a jab like that. And not even against Hopkins or anybody. Like he was getting lit up, you know. But they wanted the Hopkins fight. You know, remember Hopkins was capping after that fight saying, "Oh, I feel De La Hoya won." Like, come on.
Yeah.
You know?
Nah. I don't think he won the Strom fight, but the one fight I mean, look, I thought that Pernell Whitaker gave him a good boxing lesson. I thought that he won.
I mean, I wouldn't call it a boxing lesson, but I thought it was a competitive fight. It could have gone either way. That went to De La Hoya, but you could argue Whitaker won as well.
Who do you have winning? Who'd you have winning that fight?
I had it 7-5 Whitaker.
7-5 Whitaker.
But very close though. It was a really close fight.
7-5, 8-4, 7-5. So that's probably what I would have it. But
Yeah, I mean, it was a close fight. I mean, but I could see 7-5 De La Hoya. I could see a draw. Like, I mean, it was really, really close, in my opinion. But Trinidad did not win that fight. I know Chief Funky's a big Trinidad fan. He didn't win that fight. Like I'm just saying, right?
G Funky a fan of Trinidad?
Oh yeah, like Chief Funky thinks Trinidad won every fight. You know what I mean? Like Trinidad thinks that Hopkins had egg weights, and that Trinidad's dad drugged Trinidad, right? like I know that sounds like it made up, right? Because nobody would say something that ridiculous, right? But anyway, but
Hopkins put shit out of Trinidad and closed it out by knocking him out in the last round, man. Like you can.
But yeah, man, I just wanted to reminisce a little bit. You know what I mean? I want to play this clip, and we'll be joined by a guest as well. They'll be joining us for this segment, and we're going to be talking about what this dude Fury, bro. Like he just comes out, he's running on a treadmill. You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, this is the good, the bad, and the ugly, like all in one. So let's just talk about him instead. You know, that's how I felt about it. Let's go ahead and play this clip. We'll be right here, obviously. People will still see our reaction. And let's see what this dude had to say. This is Tyson Fury.
No, I can't believe that AJ has gone and give Ukraine all the heavyweight belts back after all my hard work of relieving them. You big useless dosser. You've let a little steroid man come up from middleweight and set about you and take all your belts. But he's going to have to take a real British Lancaster bomber like me to go and relieve the useless little steadhead of the belts and get him back to Britain. You useless dossers. Honestly, bring them to me. Lord Gypsy King, bring them to me. And I'll put them in the place. I'll relieve them of the belts again. You know I can't.
Yo, like he's mad that AJ lost all he lost all the belts to Ukraine again, bro. You know what I mean? Like he ain't happy. What's up, Maestro? How's it going, brother?
I'm good, fams. How are you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Good, Maestro.
Got the graphic. Okay, there we go. The graphic is going now.
Yeah.
Brian, what's going on, Big Brian?
What's happening, Maestro A?
Not much. Just chilling out here. Very cold in New York City, as everyone on the East Coast will know.
That's right.
Very cold, right?
Very cold, yo. Very cold.
Speaking of cold, Maestro, like what do you make of first of all, I mean, he said, AJ, you big dosser, I can't believe you lost all the belts to Ukraine again after I got them from Ukraine. He's obviously referring to when he beat Klitchko for those belts.
For sure.
Right?
For
It's literally those same belts, right? All of them. Because Klitchko didn't have the WBC.
Yeah.
And then, of course, then it says you lost to a little, small middleweight, and he called them a small steroid man.
Well, you know, this is the aspect of Tyson Fury that turns people off.
Right.
He just kind of shoots from the hip and says wild stuff. To be honest, it's a little bit xenophobic, I think. You know, I guess he's on steroids. Why? Because the Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union, the evil Red Empire, where apparently
you know what I mean?
Everyone above the age of a toddler was being injected with steroids if they were involved in sports, right? You know, it's unfortunate, but there's a lot of that in England, as there is a lot of that here in the United States. This kind of anti-Eastern Bloc sentiment when it comes to athletes from that part of the world, and the idea that they're all on some kind of performance-enhancing drug. Recently here in the United States, that's kind of been replaced by the whole Clenbuterol Canelo stuff. You know, apparently now every Mexican is a drugs cheat, at least in boxing, if you watch certain channels, at least if they're part of Eddie Reynoso's team. But look, he's shooting from the hip. I don't know if he's trying to be funny. Kind of reminds me of a statement that a guy that I'm not a big fan of, Logan Paul, made, where he was.
You like Jake, not Logan?
Not a big fan of Logan. Not a big
right.
fan. I mean, mostly I'm a fan of Jake because of the stuff he's doing with the UFC. I haven't really heard Logan being any kind of an activist on anything. I don't dislike the dude, but he did make this statement about gypsies that I felt was way out of line.
Damn.
So it was before the supposed Tommy Fury Jake Paul fight. You know, they were cutting some promo, and look, guys, get out of line. Look, it's unfortunate, but people unfortunately dig themselves these holes when the creative juices are not flowing like they might be, and they resort to questioning people's sexuality and making, you know, statements about their ethnic origin. I mean, it's like the last resort of a guy who doesn't quite know what to say. Oh, that guy's gay. Oh, that guy's, you know, from a country where they use drugs, you know, and they're all criminals and hoodlums, you know. Under normal circumstances, they probably wouldn't want to do it, but unfortunately, we live in an era where when this gets in front of your face, you start acting the fool, you know, or if not a phone, a webcam, as I've come to understand since getting on YouTube, you know, all the thugs come out when the webcam turns bright, you know. So it is what it is.
All right, okay. Hey, Brian, what did you make of his promo or whatever you want to call it? Like what did you make of his little rant there?
Well, I think there's three things I took from that. I mean, there's one sentiment you could say. Well, he won the belt against what was it, Vladimir Klitschko. He took the belt from him, took it from Ukraine, and you gave the belts back to Ukraine. You can bring that up and say, okay, he has a legitimate right because his fellow British man, all right, or Englishman, all right, gave those belts over back to Ukraine by way of Usyk whooping the shit out of him, saying and embarrassing them actually. So I guess he has a legitimate right. But the part where he starts talking about someone taking steroids or steroid little man, when you're the same cat years ago that got caught with a banned substance yourself. Mm-hmm. I mean, that in and of itself is funny as hell to me. And it's just, you know, it's goofy to be honest with you. I mean, there's many different ways you can go with it. You could probably say that he's trying to downplay Usyk's victory because maybe he knows that Usyk is the only real threat to him in the heavyweight division, which I believe that to be the case. And part of it, in a third aspect I can look at it from, is that he might be, who knows, he may know something that we don't know. He might be dry snitching. Possibility of that. But, I mean, but also, too, I mean, you know, he's a character. He talks a lot of shit. And that's what he's good for. And he's probably the best shit talker in the sport right now. And probably the most, probably the most charismatic right now. So it could just be him doing the goofiness right now, you know.
I want to play it again before I give my. I just want like a fresh kind of feeling about it. So let's listen to it again. You know what I mean?
You know, I can't believe that AJ has gone and give Ukraine all the heavyweight belts back after all my hard work of relieving them. You big useless dosser. You've let a little steroid ban come up from middleweight and set about you and take all your belts. But he's going to have to take a real British Lancaster bomber like me to go and relieve the useless little steadhead of the belts and get him back to Britain. You useless dossers. Honestly, bring them to me. Lord Gypsy King, bring them to me. And I'll put them in the place. I'll relieve them of the belts again. You know, I can't.
Can I make one last comment?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, of course.
I hadn't seen the video before when I was in the studio. I didn't
okay.
Hear the audio. So he's definitely not being serious now that I've heard the whole clip.
Okay.
Tyson Fury knows how to make a headline. He's definitely getting themselves into the headlines there. I don't agree with the statement. I don't condone the statement, but he definitely wasn't being serious.
All right. Like Tyson Fury is calling out everybody, right? He's calling out Ngannou. He's calling out Usyk. He's calling out AJ. He's calling out everybody, right? Except, you know who I'm going to say, right? You know exactly who I'm going to say. The person he should be talking about.
Dillian White.
No. Brock Lesnar, the Beast, the WWE champion. I mean, let me tell you something. He's been calling out every WWE champion. He was calling out Roman Reigns. He was calling out like Big E. He was calling out the dude from Scotland. What's his name? Right?
Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre. But Brock Lesnar becomes champion. He's got nothing to say. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, that he won't go to WWE. He went to WWE for these other dudes, but he won't go to WWE against Brock Lesnar, the Beast, because he doesn't want to go to Suplex City. All right, but in all seriousness, WWE, like Fury versus Lesnar, WrestleMania, like that shit would sell. Okay? I'm just saying, okay? But that aside, all right? I want a percentage of the royalties. Thank you. But with that said, I thought it was funny. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. Like, I think this is like Fury learning from his promo time. Like ever since he left WWE, like his promo work has gone to the next level, right? And I think he's learned like that entertainment value, right? And he's everything he says is exaggerated. You lost to a little man coming up from middleweight. Well, that's an exaggeration, right? He lost to a smaller heavyweight that moved up from cruiserweight, but he's not a middleweight,
well,
right?
What he's referring to, D-Style, is that Usyk actually fought as a middleweight in the amateurs, and that's actually the weight class he was fighting at when he lost to Sean Porter. So he's getting deep into the weeds with that statement.
Man. He lost to Sean Porter. I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, Sean Porter fought as an amateur as a middleweight and then dropped down to welterweight as a pro. And when he was an amateur, he fought and beat Usyk in some international box off that they were in. So as Fury sees himself as a lifelong heavyweight, he sees Joshua as a lifelong heavyweight. Like, they've been super heavyweight since they've been teenagers. So to a big man like Fury, like, this guy's someone who's moved up and is a little man. So I think that's where he's coming from.
Can you imagine Lesnar like picking him up and like F5ing him? Like, you know what I mean? Like just picking up 275 pound, you know what I mean? And like, first of all, Bob Arum would have a heart attack if this guy was letting himself get slammed at WrestleMania. Like, you're going to do what? Oh yeah, Bob, he's going to pick me up and give me an F5 like in midair. Like, yeah, no, you're not doing shit. Right? I don't think that's going to happen, but hey, I mean, he's putting his name out there, and I think what this is, in my opinion, I think this, and I saw it with the Ngannou thing. I'm seeing it here. I just think he's reminding Dillian White that, bro, like, I don't need you, bro. You know what I mean? I think that's what it is.
I mean, he doesn't. I mean, if the purse bid goes through and it's supposed to take place this month, and Dillian White pulls essentially a Luis Ortiz move or Joseph Parker move, and what I mean by that is, I'm not fighting because I don't really like the money that I'm going to make in this fight. He's not going to keep the interim title. He's going to be stripped by the WBC. He's going to be tied up in his little arbitration stuff for God knows how long. And Fury will fight for the WBC title against whoever else he decides to defend it against. Dillian White's lost all his bargaining chips in that regard. So I think he's got to just go through with this purse bid, hope Eddie Hearn wins it, hope that Eddie Hearn takes the fight to DAZN, which is what I'm hoping for. I don't want this on pay-per-view. And, get paid off of that, It is
so I was just saying, I was gesturing to the chat just for the audio audience. So somebody not asked, do you give AJ a chance to beat Usyk in the rematch? I do. If the question is, you give him a chance, yes. I don't know if he's a favorite, but you gotta give AJ a decent shot, in my opinion. Like
he's got a chance, but I'm favoring Usyk even more now than I was in the past. And the whole thing that's made me believe this, D, is that how long is it taking him to do this whole bachelor process with picking a trainer? I mean, this is taking too long. Like, I mean,
we should have started a reality show, right? Like,
seriously, I mean, this is literally taking the same amount of time as like your typical season of a television show. I mean, they could have turned this into the television show. Like, we're gonna have a bachelor, and we're gonna have all of these different trainers lined up, and he's gonna go on like dates with them and figure out who's got the best style for him or whatever. Like at
the end of the show's like, Rodney, you've been eliminated. Like, what the fuck?
At this point, he's gonna have about 8 weeks to train with a new trainer for the biggest fight of his life. That's not very reassuring if you're an AJ fan. Big Brian, I see you itching to jump in.
Man, listen. He didn't have a chance against Usyk. I was picking Usyk to stop him in the first fight. And they should have in that 12th round, right? You did too. In that 12th round, they should have threw the towel in, which they did. Well, no, actually they did, and they should have called it off, but whatever. This second fight, I mean, it's been it's been since December. And this guy was surprised that Ronnie should want him to get in the gym in December. Now he transitioned to Mayweather. Now he's with the trainer that I guess he was initially going to train with, and it's only 3 months out. This is the mindset of a fighter that is mentally defeated already before he stepped in the ring, who is psychologically scarred and damaged, all right, and has insecurities, and he's displayed for I guess a couple years now since that Ruiz fight, and you're not look. Everybody takes an L, but you could tell whenever he takes an L, it's like something gets taken away from him. A certain level of confidence, a certain level of ferocity and aggressiveness or tenacity, like how he fought with what's his name, Andy Ruiz. He didn't. The second fight he adjusted, but he boxed him on the outside and whatnot. But he didn't really go for it against Ruiz like that, like he did in the first fight. This fight against Usyk, who's a way better fighter than Ruiz, all right, and a superior fighter to AJ. There's nothing AJ can do at this point. The best thing he can do is to swing for the fences, because that's the only chance he has. And if he can't, and if that fails, then look for Usyk to stop him within 10 rounds, from what I'm looking at.
I agree. And at this point, I mean, it's like, why didn't you step away and allow a unification fight with Usyk? Because to me, it's pretty obvious he's going to need time to beat either of those guys, because he's going to need time with a trainer. He's going to need a very long training camp. Like you said, Brian, this training camp should have started in December.
I mean,
look at the watch right now. It's already the 11th of January.
Hey, but Amilcar.
Yo,
Maestro, I'm sorry.
No, that's we homies. Amilcar's my name.
But here's the thing.
Yo,
like, I mean, Rocky did it. Like in Rocky 3, like in one training camp, he like transformed. Why can't AJ do it? You know what I mean? Well, by the way, I'm picturing like this show, right? Like in my head, I've been thinking about like what type of like things would AJ have all these trainers do, like walking on logs so they don't fall under with the alligators, or like, you know what I mean? Like
Bunyan work out the lumberjack,
having them all do road work and stuff, and like he's the one like telling them, come on, you want to be my trainer? Come on, let's do this.
You know, I said it before, I'll say it again. He needs to be out of the English language media market. He needs to be 100% out of his comfort zone. He needs to be in isolation. He needs to be an offensive-minded trainer. All roads lead to Mark Ramsey. But right now, what he needs more than anything is time. Because if he's planning to fight in April, he's quickly running out of it in terms of being able to gel and learn under the tutelage of a new trainer in a new style.
Yeah, like he's like busting out the 50 Cent song 21 Questions with all these trainers. Like he's showing up. You know what I mean? Like beep, 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 beep. Like, you know what I mean? It's like well, are you ready to train me now? Like you know.
No, I mean,
you know, if I get knocked down and out, will you still be there for me? Like, dude, like, we don't got time for this. Like, do you want to fight or not? Okay.
Right? It's
Like, are you ready to train me now? Are you ready to drop everything you're doing and train me all night? Well, whatever it is, like AJ, like we don't have time for the remix of 21 Questions. Just get a dude and start fucking training.
Well, I got another. You're obviously a 50 fan, as I was for many, many years. So I'm going to give you another one. Window shopper. I mean, it's like, are you going to buy something, or are you just going to keep walking past these stores?
He's just a window shopper. Right? It is.
I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Looking at me, working the midst, but you're just a window shopper.
We got Reynoso, we got Ronnie Shields, we've got Virgil Hunter, you know.
And then he shows up for the Andre Ward workout. You know what I mean? Like, you all know what that is, right? Andre Ward shows up, like, just dressed in normal street clothes, and he's like, okay, let me see your jab. All right, you know what? I think you can knock Canelo out. Yeah. All right, shadow box. Let me see you shadow box. Yeah, you got it. Like, the dude showing up in street clothes, like with Under Armour tees and like jeans, right? With his arm crossed, like interviewing these trainers, like, bro, what the fuck is that? Okay, like, oh, I had a real serious. I asked Ronnie Shields if you know, because I believe I have the dog in me. People say I don't have the dog in me, but I asked Ronnie Shields if I have the dog in me. Hey, Ronnie, do I have the dog in me? Like, what is that?
It's another way of, you give me the cosign, and do you want to get hired? I mean, what's Ronnie Shields going to say? No, I don't think you got the dog in you, son. I mean,
if it's the 5th round and Usyk's beating my ass, are you going to give me the advice that I need to be sound? Please be square with me. You know what I mean? Like, what is this? You know what I mean? Look, at the end of the day, all right, historian, talk to us. Do you believe that Fury is going to fight Dillian White this year? Is it going to happen?
Well, since Dillian White keeps pricing himself out of a fight that, you know, I mean, the man's demanding $10 million or 10 or what, you know, or euro, whatever the hell he's demanding.
10 million guaranteed. That's minimum. Okay.
Oh, that's minimum.
I mean, that's twice Usyk's minimum to fight Joshua for 3 belts.
Man.
And he don't want the fight. It's obvious he don't want the fight with Tyson Fury, because you would do everything in your power to want the fight, take the $5 million, and do what you got to do, and then come back with a bigger offer if you beat him, if you stop him, especially. That's, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I mean, there's no rematch clause in a mandated fight. Get your bread if Tyson wants to run it back. If you believe in yourself like Usyk did, go after the belts, get the bag, and then get double the bag or more in the rematch. It's Andy Ruiz did it, right? By the way, yeah. Andy Ruiz did it when Dillian didn't want it with Joshua the second time and turned down the fight. You know, so it's a good question, D-Style, but I don't even think it's Fury at this point. This fight would have already been signed if White had taken the offer from Top Rank. We have to hope that Eddie Hearn steps in with the big bag offer and is able to win this purse bid, put this on the zone, and get Dillian White paid.
I agree, man. I do believe the fight's going to happen. They might give Dillian White like 25%, I believe. But I want to ask you guys one more question before we wrap this one up. I'm going to start with you, Maestro, because you didn't get to chime in about this while me and Brian kind of touched on it enough, kind of. But yeah. So my tweet is Andre going to go shadow box with Charlo too, offer his palm for jab advice and predict the KO for Canelo. Now, obviously, that's a joke, but what do you make of, like, I just want to kind of know, like, what do you make of, I just want your opinion on Charlo. Do you think the fight will happen with Canelo? And is it a fight you want to see?
Let's take those questions in order. Do I think the fight is going to happen? No.
Okay.
People got to look at the source of this information. It's a guy who's been known to cap nonstop.
Cappinger, yeah.
Mike Cappinger, who repeatedly, apparently, gets his information from PBC people who, you know, I guess maybe they sent Canelo an email, and that's considered a negotiation. I was talking about with Joe Habib about this earlier today. It's like communication requires a back and forth. A negotiation requires a back and forth. If I send you an offer to join Maestro Management and I email you and I'm like, I'm going to pay you $10 for the whole year, I guess in the world of Mike Cappinger, we're in negotiations, right?
Right.
Maestro Management is in negotiations with D-Style Boxing for an advisory contract. No, we're not. I just sent you an email with a random figure in it, and we have not. And we know that this story is false because Eddie then also went to the internet to essentially squash it. Was a retraction given? Of course not.
Okay.
So will the fight happen? No. It was never in negotiation in the first place. It didn't make sense to me at all. I think that the fight that Canelo should chase is the Joe Smith fight. I think that the turnaround is going to be short enough because this guy he's facing on Saturday is a guy no one's heard of. He's got 2 losses against 2 people no one's heard of. It's going to be an easy night's work for Joe Smith. He's going to shake off the COVID rust, the pandemic rust, and he'll be ready to get right back into a training camp to take on Canelo soon. That's what I hope we see. As for Andre Ward, I mean, I guess he's still trying to prove that he could beat Canelo, right? I guess he's still trying to prove that he was the last great 168-pound champion. The dude's got to pick a lane. Are you a commentator? Are you a trainer? Are you some kind of a savant? Are you an active fighter or semi-retired or retired fighter, dropping indications that you might return to the sport? I mean, look at the picture. Can you even take this seriously?
I can't.
Who takes boxing seriously actually believe that Caleb Plant had any chance at all in that fight against Canelo? Because
That's the tweet.
Plant's
jab, I'm working a shadow box with Charlo too, or anybody, by the way.
Caleb Plant's jab is better than Triple G's jab, right? It's better than Kovalev's jab, right?
But
it's
I mean, if he wanted to work with him, you would think he would grab the mitts, have him put on the gloves, and they have a couple weeks of working or something. But apparently, one little session where you put your palm out. Let me see your jab. All right. Hey, straighten it out a little bit. Oh, there you go, like that. Okay. Now he's ready to fight Canelo, guys. Okay, now that's gonna totally make a big difference. Okay, this is insane, bro. Like, to me, it was a classic case of, well, nobody's expecting Plant to win, so if he loses, it's expected. But if he wins, well, he worked with me a little bit. You know what I mean? I helped him out. I showed him some tricks. I don't know what trick in the world you're gonna do this. All right, let me see. Yeah, all right, good, right here. Like that. Straighten out. Okay, yeah. All right, good job. Like, bro, what do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna be part of the camp, like, that's not like showing up one day and like talking to him and walking around the ring while he's shadow boxing. This is not going to help him beat Canelo. Okay, it obviously didn't, but it is what it is. Brian,
what's up?
Give us some final thoughts, brother. Thanks so much for coming on, and tell everyone where they could find you here on YouTube.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah, you can find me on the Boxing Historian 206 on YouTube. Talk boxing history, sooner or later, and, talk the things that mainly go on in boxing, as well as mixed martial arts as well, too. So you can find me at the Boxing Historian 206 on YouTube. Final thoughts. Canelo Alvarez. I mean, I've noticed that people don't like him, and I understand why, because there was a time where I didn't like some of the moves that he was making, but I think the way people are acting with the Charlo thing, and now that there's a rumor that's out there about the Charlo thing, I realize that there is a certain level of vitriol that's not warranted to Canelo Alvarez, and I think that you need to respect an undisputed champion for what he's done. He's one of the only 2 undisputed champions in boxing today. Second, AJ, he's gonna get his ass whipped by Usyk. Thirdly, Tyson Fury has always been a clown, and I hope someone knocks his damn head off. Personally, so that's my final thoughts.
That's right. I never liked Tyson Fury either. It's just like, I don't think anybody can knock his head off. But I could still hope it. Hey, Maestro, give us some final words, brother.
I mean, people that are hoping for that, I mean, the chance for that to happen was that Wilder Fury fight, the first one. His head got as close to getting knocked off as it's ever going to get close to getting knocked off, and he rose up from the grave, so to speak, as people have reminded us many times.
Yeah.
But I do agree with Brian. He is a clown. But what I will say is I actually think he's very good for the sport. He brings an entertainment aspect to it. There's always been like a carnival element to boxing. I mean, I heard Brian talking about Mike Tyson earlier. I mean, Mike Tyson threatened to eat my man Lennox Lewis's children, and then finished it up with a praise be to Allah. So, I mean,
I was like Lennox Lewis is. They asked him about that. Like, I mean, I didn't even have children.
Yeah, Lewis was like, I don't even have children yet. I mean, he's got children now. So, I mean, that kind of stuff. This kind of stuff has always been in the heavyweight division. If we're going to be honest about it, I mean, I did a live on my channel a couple months ago where I was showing Larry Holmes dropping drop kicks off the top of cars. You know what I mean?
Man, it's epic.
So like, yeah, this is heavyweight boxing, ladies and gentlemen. This is heavyweight boxing.
Larry had no regard, but that he was going to land on the ground. Like, you know what I mean? Like his focus was, I'm going to kick this motherfucker. Okay. I'll worry about the fall, but later, like the first kick, you know what I mean? Which, by the way, like I'm surprised Rocky, what was it, 5 didn't like have that. Why didn't Rocky drop kick Tommy Gunn? You know what I mean?
It's a good question.
Hey, you know why? Because people would have said, "Oh, come on, that's bullshit." But like it happened in real life. Like, I mean, it's the crazy part. Man of Water, shout out to you. I appreciate the support, brother. Knocked Out by Kenny in the building. Everybody subscribe to Knocked Out by Kenny. Kenny, go ahead and put the link to your channel so people can subscribe. Everybody subscribe to Boxing Historian Tool 6 right here on YouTube. And I want to thank everybody for coming on. I want to thank everybody that tuned in. Make sure you hit the like button. If you're listening archive or you just came in, make sure you go back and watch the rest of the show. A lot of great conversation. This is D-Style Boxing. This is HCP 88. And I'll see you next week with my co-host Nancy. I'm out. Peace.